Meet the candidates for Hamilton Township School Board.
Joe Novembri. I'm running for the school board because I've always had an interest in preserving the quality and improving it if possible. I've had 39 years of experience with the district. I think my leadership and my experience can do well for the community of Hamilton.
Tony Celentano. Well, one premise or opinion I've always had is that your school district is only as strong as your community and vice versa. Community is only as strong as the school district. So with that in mind and what I'm seeing going on nationally, as well as possibly and probably creeping into the schools in New Jersey, I want to be proactive.
Jeff Hewitson. I was on the school board before, back in 2016 as president. I just don't like the way the school district is headed right now. I think we're leaning a little bit to the left, and I don't like some of the new programs they're bringing in the curriculum because they're not getting any input from the parents, and I think they're really difficult subjects, and I think the parents should be involved.
What do you guys think are the major issues facing the Hamilton schools?
The typical ones that are facing the nation. CRT is number one. Mask mandates is another one. Taxes seems to have taken a slide down the pole a little bit because that used to be like your number one issue. You talk about taxes, you tell people you're going to help them out, you'll get elected, quicker than a fox can jump into a foxhole.
I think transparency is a major issue in the district due to a lot of the societal changes that are happening in our schools related to curriculum revision, policy changes. The parents need to be kept aware of what's going on. Years ago, we used to have 2 school board meetings a month, an agenda session and a regular session. They were both recorded and televised in their entirety. We don't do that today. More than ever, parents and community members need to be aware of what's going on, and they have to really be given every opportunity to participate. And I think if we go back to recording and televising the school board meetings, I think that'll be a step in a positive direction.
Yeah, Mr. November, he talked about transparency, but I think that's a word that's been watered down so often. Everybody uses that word about being transparent, but you can't be transparent unless you have integrity. You're only as good as your word. So if you have integrity, then you have to have accountability. If you're accountable, then you're transparent. And when you're transparent, you become inclusive. In other words, you invite the parents and the teachers into any major changes or even subtle changes that you're going to have in the school district, especially, like I said before, if you're changing the curriculum, you have to get input and buy-in from the parents before you do that. And the CRT, like Mr. Celentano said, that's one thing that they're trying to put into our district. Sometimes they change the name with another acronym, like they're doing Culture Responsive Teaching, CRT, and there's many more out there with the same initials, but they all come back to the CRT, which is critical race theory, which I'm not in favor of.
What's your vision for the school board?
Well, we need to clean up the mess that this current Board of Education has got us into, okay? Right now you have, and I hate to use the term carpetbaggers, but we have a couple carpetbaggers on this Board of Education as well as the ones that are serving in the administration building. Okay, let me explain that to you. Since this Board of Education has been in power, let's call it power, with this superintendent, we get nothing but out-of-town employees at the highest level. Why that bothers me is because they've contributed nothing to this community. I walked on Route 33 when you used to get hit by a car just by breathing, and we had signs that said, "Pray for me, I drive Route 33." Today, the folks that are getting elected in the community, such as Hamilton, a large community, they don't have any vested interest, okay? They're taking. Board members are taking, not physically taking, but they're just taking something from the district, whether it's integrity, whether it's continuity. And we're having teachers that are leaving this school district because there's no consistency in the administration building other than trying to take this town down. Okay, they're trying to water it down. And it's evident by who they hire. As an example, if you have a young girl or boy man or woman, whatever, who's going to school here in Hamilton, okay, and they go on to college. They want to come back as a teacher. They want to come back maybe even in the support staff section. This Board of Education, with this administration, goes out of its way to say no to these people, okay? We just hired a HR director from Newark, New Jersey. I'm not sure if it's Newark, but it's North Jersey. $189,000 with very little, if any, experience whatsoever. So they're the things that have to change. And I want to make sure you understand one thing. We, as a Board of Education, cannot do this alone. No one board member can promise that they're going to do anything alone. It takes 5. However, everything is at the recommendation of the superintendent. So the superintendent must be held accountable. Right now, what we have on this Board of Education, bobbleheads and rubber stamps.
What do you intend to do about the superintendent?
Hold him accountable. Right now, he does. He just sits back at meetings and relaxes and combs his hair and making $225,000 to $240,000. And it's not the money so much. Sometimes it's the attitude. Okay, when I was there, I'll give you a political example. When I was there, I seen him knob-hobbing with the Republicans in the township. Well, the Republicans got beat. Well, guess who he knob-hobs with now? The Democrats. I can't do that. When I make a decision, that's it, okay? I'm either with you or against you. And what are we going to do? I mean, the only thing is if I can get somebody else on this board, these two, or vice versa, however it works out, we need to be there, the 3 of us. We can then have a conversation. When I was there at the end of 2019 was my last year there, I couldn't get anybody to give me a second on anything, right? They would just shut you down because it wasn't their narrative. It wasn't their agenda. And that's what goes on. So what we need to do is you have to hold the guy accountable, make sure he's there for the youngsters and the staff in this town, and make sure he promotes Hamilton Township. I don't really give a damn of these people he's coming from. Bricktown, Newark, over across the river, down South Jersey. His entire administrative staff on Park Avenue, maybe bar one, don't live in Hamilton Township.
That's why you need transparency, because how can you hold somebody accountable unless you really know what's going on? And without televising the meetings, the people really do not know what's going on. Additionally, I'm going to guess 10 years ago or so, we used to take a couple pages out in the Hamilton Post. And it used to be like the superintendent's corner in the school district, so the people who got that paper, and the paper was for free for the community, they knew what was going on in the school district. People truly do not know what's going on. And that is such an important issue. To me, that's the most important issue, because if you don't know what's going on, how are you going to hold somebody accountable for it? I mean the budget, the budgets now, in order to see the budget, we used to have them online. You go on the Hamilton Township website now to look at the budget. You know what you have to do? You have to contact the office, and they have to give you permission to look at it. It's public information. That stuff should be available to everyone.
Is there a referendum in Hamilton on the school district right now?
No. We had a referendum, and I'll talk about that for a minute because it was annoying. Not annoying, it's a bad choice of words. We had a referendum, $55 million referendum 5 or 6 years ago. And one of the things that they replaced in the referendum was all the doors in Grice and Reynolds. Now, I'm telling you, they were solid wood doors. They were beautiful doors. Maybe they need to change a lock or something like that for code. But they just blew through that money, and that's a disgrace. And another issue that they didn't do, and they could have looked at a building improvement for air conditioning. We haven't done anything. And with the excessive heat that we have in the school district, we're losing a lot of classroom instruction. And, we closed school, I think, twice this year already for excessive heat. Kids aren't going to learn it when it's heat. Teachers may let them go outside, and I'm not criticizing that at all. I mean, let's face it. We sleep in an air-conditioned house. We drive an air-conditioned car. We go to air-conditioned restaurants. Well, guess what? The kids can learn better if we started to air condition our schools, perhaps maybe phase that in because it is a high cost.
Are there ways to find any savings in the budget?
I think Mr. November can speak with that because he's a budget expert.
Yeah, I can talk to you a lot about the budget. I used to have the personnel budget, and that was about 70 to 85% of the budget. There's a lot of accrued savings in a budget. Even if you directed that money to another issue, there's plenty of money to do that. Let me give you an example. Let's say that the starting salary in the district is $40,000. Okay, so somebody at the top of the scale making 80 retires. I hire somebody new at 40. I just saved $40,000. And the district size in Hamilton, we have about 1,800 employees. We had quite a bit of breakage. I would guarantee at least 700,000-800,000 probably each year. And if you don't compare line to line, you got to look at the savings and see where they are. I would love the opportunity to go through the budget again, line by line.
Another part of savings that people never talk about, and I've been there long enough to realize that there are lawsuits. Some of them are frivolous, but we have to pay the attorney, and they seem like they just love this stuff. The more they can spend on with lawyers and just haphazardly, that justifies their budget increases. Okay, and I just thought of something as you were talking to Joe. This is why I said we need more than one. We need three of us. Okay, because I remember I served on the personnel committee and I recently served on the facilities committee. They watered them all down. Not once in 6 years did any member ever make a recommendation to consolidate something, cut something. I hate to say cut because, I'm a people's person. Not one person would support anything like that because what the administration would do, they would browbeat them, okay? I can remember being in executive session looking at the superintendent and or the BA, and somebody's asking a question that they knew it wasn't on my agenda, and you can see them stiffen up, the eyes go up, and kind of give them the wink. So that just tells me something that we need to have more than one set of eyes on this in this Board of Education.
Ultimately, a school board is about the students. What's your vision for the students of Hamilton Township?
I can speak that we really have to invest in our students and our teachers. We need to give our teachers the tools that they need to be successful, and our students need to have competent, happy teachers, which they do as long as you don't hire people from the outside, because what happens when you hire people from the outside, you stop the upward mobility. So there's not much chance to move up the career ladder, which our teachers get discouraged, and morale becomes a big problem, and they look for other places to go, other schools in Mercer County, which we lost a lot of good teachers, because of that problem. Hiring from the outside, stopping upward mobility.
Are you suggesting a residency requirement?
We do have one.
Well,
We did have one, okay? What happened is they dismantled the residency office, which means that anybody and their brother now comes into this township, just like the border in the south of the southwest. But let me follow up on that question you had to Jeff, okay? What can we do for students? I'm an advocate of a STEM program now called STEAM, Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Music. I was blasted in the newspaper for recommending something like that because you know why? It wasn't their idea. I was accused of owning the property. I was accused of, what was the other thing I was accused of? Something having to do with a charter school. Years ago, I was involved in a charter school as, a signee, okay? I had nothing to do with it. I make no money on that. It's got nothing to do with me, right? What can we do? I believe in competition. I believe that the youngsters in this school district need to have competition, not an easy ride, an easy pass to getting a grade and all this nonsense about everybody's the same, everybody's entitled to the same thing. No, okay? I think that we got to put our foot down and make these youngsters understand it's a real world out there. It may not be for long, but it's a real world out there. You need to be able to compete, okay? And every youngster is not going to go to college, okay? But I don't know what we do anymore. We used to have a good business program, okay, where at the Acme on Route 33. There's a young lady there. I remember as a kid. She came through our school system out of Hamilton West. She's one of the managers there today. Maybe that's what they want to do. And parent power is important to me. You said you wanted to know what we can do. The parents in this school district and every other school district should have some input, if not all input. We are public servants. We're not politicians. I'm a public servant. Some of these people just want to be patted on the back. I've had board members in front of me when the meeting was going too long, and they would holler over to the board president. I was sitting there with them and go, we got to get this over with. I got to go somewhere. This is too late. You don't need people like that on the Board of Education. I was president of the board 5 times, 4 times. I don't care what you said up there as long as it wasn't derogatory. Once in a blue moon, we would get somebody up there, you had to cut them off. I want to have a conversation with you because that's how I learn about what you want, what you're looking for, right? But again, parent power, certain subjects in the curriculum need to be strengthened, not weakened. And while I said weakened, we've weakened our ALPS program, which is our gifted and talented equivalent. It used to be that the teachers had to say who was coming to the classroom based on the process. Okay, now it comes out of the curriculum office or the director of curriculum. He has completely shut down those ladies who run that program, who ran it well, and the parents were happy with it. I don't think the parents know what's going on today. My major concern about what I just said is we have AP programs, accelerated programs. Is that going to be next? Is that what they're going to take over next? When that happens, you're going to end up with a community, as I said at the outset, that's going to take the school system down.
I'm going to give you another area, and that's vocational training. Over the years, many of the programs related to preparing students to enter the trades, for example, plumbing, electricity, they were reduced or eliminated. We don't have those programs anymore. There is an area of tremendous job growth and opportunity there. The trade fields have become much more technical, which would require major and much needed upgrades in the curriculum. Expanding technology needs to continue to be a high priority in our schools in both the trade areas and across the entire curriculum.
Ultimately, what is it you would like the voters to know about you as you seek a board seat in Hamilton Township?
Well, first of all, Hamilton is known as the big little town. By that I mean Hamilton Township has 92,397 people as of April 1st, 2020. Okay, by small I mean it's a really small community. So what we like to do is we like to educate for success, not just for our students but for Hamilton, because we want our students to go on to college or any vocational set that they want, and come back to our community, the community that they love.
I'm going to steal this one from Brett Baer. Fair, balanced, and unafraid. That's who I am.
I think I have a great deal of experience to offer the district. I worked for 39 years for the Hamilton Township School District, and my last position was the Director of Human Resources. And believe me, I am not a person who blindly supports anything. I will do the research and I'll ask the tough questions, and we'll go on from there. I didn't blindly support the administration. I did support them in the final end, but if there was a question, if something came up and I didn't like it, I made sure that my voice was heard. Okay? I think you have to be respected rather than well liked, and I think I was. And so I just want the people to know I will not blindly support anything without doing the necessary research.
And another point I'd like to bring up, I hope I'm not off topic, but there's been a movement, and there's been a movement in Mercer County to teach sex education in 4th and 6th grade. I'm totally against that, and I'm totally against the concept of boys being allowed to go to girls' bathrooms and the girls being allowed to go to boys' bathrooms. That's something I'm totally against, and I think if the parents knew about what was going on, that they would express their opinions. Another thing, John, while I'm at it, we want the parents to be able to come to school board meetings and express their opinions, their concerns, and their dissents without being vilified or being called terrorists, like it's taking place across the country. We don't want that to happen at our school board meetings. We want them to feel like they're welcome to come because it's their children. Their education is what is actually at stake. Excuse me.
I believe that there's something going on in the district right now where the children are not allowed to go to the bathroom the last 10 minutes of class, during the passing of classes, which is 3 or 4 minutes, and the first 10 minutes of the next period. So that actually is depriving students of 24 minutes that they can't use the lavatory. And I think that's a dangerous issue that has to be really checked into.
And this is for all students. It's for autistic students also. Okay? So for somebody who has to go to the bathroom and ask them to hold it for 24 minutes, I think that's totally out of line.
We need to tackle a ton of issues. You've just heard Jeff, you just heard Joe, and myself lay out some of the issues. There's probably more that we forgot about, but it comes down to what I said before. This administration, this superintendent needs to be held accountable. You cannot rubber stamp everything. You can't be a bobblehead. And that's the problem. I hear complaints after they make a decision. And when I said to 2 board members about a year ago, actually it would have been right before the pandemic because it was on Route 33. I said to the 2 of them, I said, the difference between me and you is that I don't need to be liked. I don't need to be patronized. I said, and when you get that through your head, maybe you'll be an effective board member. Until then, you can keep doing what you're doing, kiss their rear ends, and you get nothing in return. And as Joe said, I'm not there to be liked. Nobody likes me anyhow, but who cares?
On November 2nd, remember to vote for Hamilton Township School Board.